o'clock, so we're going to call the meeting to order, and we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
Here.
Mrs. Godwin.
Here.
Mr. Mosier.
Here.
Miss Amy Walker.
Here.
Mr. Wigton.
Here.
I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Mosier.
4.
Mr. Wigton.
4.
Miss Amy Walker.
4.
Mrs. Godwin.
4.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4. I need a motion to approve the previous board meeting minutes.
So moved.
A second.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Miss Amy Walker.
4.
Mrs. Godwin.
4.
Mr. Mosier.
4.
Mr. Wigton.
4.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4. And we have no presentation of certificates.
I do.
Oh, I apologize.
That's okay.
Just like to take a moment to recognize Mrs. Robin Lyons. She is retired from her job over at the board office as the administrative assistant over there, and just like to recognize her for 7 years of dedicated service to the district, to everybody involved in the district. She's a very dedicated, great employee, and just did a terrific job keeping everybody in line over there and running and operating the board office. And, I think she did a job that probably in many districts our size would be done by more than one person. So if you'd come forward, Robin.
No other
That's it?
surprises? Okay.
Nope.
At this time, we'll recognize any visitors who wish to address the board concerning anything on the agenda.
Hello, Mike Leeper, 2364 State Route 603. This is one of the last places in the world I want to be, especially speaking at a board meeting. I'm sure my fellow teachers feel the same way. After last month's meeting, I felt it was important to address our administration, which I've never done in 35 plus years as a teacher and 20 plus years as a president of the Teachers Union. I came to Madison in the summer of '89. I've come to dozens, which seem like hundreds of board meetings. It seems like nothing changes. We have financial problems, and the constant response is cut, cut, cut. It's the same playbook with unfortunately the same results. We cut teachers, we cut programs, we cut electives. We cut anything extra that many districts treat as normal, and we all end up paying the price. The kids, the teachers, the community. Over the last few years, we've elected new people to the board, entirely different than it was not long ago, and our hope was a different approach, a different perspective, and a different outcome. We've had people in the past who have run for the board because their son was cut from the basketball team, another because they were denied employment in the district, and probably numerous others. So on behalf of our students and teachers, I'm asking the board members of this time to ask themselves why they are here and what they are truly willing to do to get this district moving back in the right direction. It's time to start being managers and start being leaders. Stop the self-serving that gets us nowhere and think outside the box. I'm asking you to do what teachers do. Work on your own time, off the clock, using your own resources, and find solutions to our financial problems. Talk to politicians, invite them here, and show them the struggles we face. Seek grants and available fundings at national, state, local levels. Find what other districts are doing. Engage with teachers to seek solutions. It was through our help that we passed levies in the 90s, one to build a new middle school and the one in 2023. I don't remember the last time that we didn't have teacher layoffs, but I do know that this is the third consecutive time that we have gone to mediation. I'm not aware of any district that has gone through what teachers in this district have. I will leave you with this. We have many Ohio State fans in this room.
30 seconds, Mr. Lieber.
Thank you. And our situation reminds me of the Michigan rivalry in the game played just a couple of weeks ago. Ohio State kept trying to run the ball with very minimal, if any, success. Buckeye fans screamed at their television, pass the ball, run a reverse, run play action, run a trick play, anything other than what you're doing. You are the coaches and we are the people screaming at the television, only we've been doing it for a much longer time. Take care of the people who take care of the kids. Thank you.
Jim Robinson, 2421 Haviland Court. Board members, as a taxpayer and a former Madison teacher of 35 years, I am here to address a few worrisome issues. First, it astonishes me that teachers are again facing the same contractual issues that they have faced during each contract renegotiation. It should not have to be a long, drawn-out process every 3 years. The superintendent, the board, and principals always speak highly of their teaching staff in newsletters and publications, but then turn around with the attitude of what can we take away from them, instead of how can we give them a tangible acknowledgement. As a taxpayer, citizens like myself trust that the board is making good decisions. Cutting teacher positions, which leads to overcrowded and under-resourced classrooms where it feels impossible to reach each student's needs, is not a good decision. When I was a teacher at Madison Middle School, there was an intervention specialist in ELA, math, science, and social studies. Now they are in ELA and math only, with the ELA and math classes maxed out. How can teacher cuts be the only answer? If cuts need to be made, why can't the cuts come from administration? At the very least, why are we adding administrative positions? If we are in such dire straits, who thought it was a good idea to give administration raises? And just because the board has always paid the administrator's STRS portion, does it mean it has to stay that way? If cuts have to be made, start there. Why does it always have to be the teachers who are asked to give something up? They are the ones in the classrooms daily with the students. That is why all of us in the community are here, for the students. Who most impacts the students on a daily basis? The teachers, not the administrators. Stop taking from the teachers who are in the trenches. The administrators should not be considered untouchable. The people that you are not supporting, who sit behind me, are the ones who advocated for the passage of the levy. When the levy was presented, we were told that these monies were vital to continue operations. Its passage would put the district in a good position. Now we are hearing that there was an error in the amount of money needed. Why doesn't the public hear about this error? Is this not public information? Be accountable. If you made the mistake, own it. If someone else did, then hold them accountable for the taxpayers and the students' needs.
30 seconds, Mr. Robinson.
Teachers are in a service profession. We all know that many teachers spend their own money on rewards and needs in the classroom. We all know that teachers work many more hours than their contract dictates. Teachers care about their students. Let's agree on a contract where teachers are not asked to make less. Let's value the people who are willing to spend their days with our children, helping to develop contributing members to our society. It is not a job that just anyone can do. It requires a 4-year degree.
That is time.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board at this time? Okay, we'll move on to administrative committee reports. Legislative? No report. Athletic Board of Controls meets tomorrow, so there's no report. Student representative?
Alright, for anyone who doesn't know me, my name's Elise Huggins. I'm this year's Student Council President. I'm going to start off with some facts about the high school for right now. The boys and girls basketball is off to a great start with exciting games happening and wins racking up, with the boys playing and the girls playing, I believe, this week. To add to that, my best friend Brent Kiley is up for Mansfield News Journal Athlete of the Week this week for basketball. Girls wrestling is unstoppable, with Madison Junior Estella Colbert-Smith going 9-0, as well as all the Madison girls winning at least one match so far this season. Wrestling hosted the annual Tom Ellis Wrestling Meet, with lots of Madison players placing, as well as Aiden Proctor and Jackson Stancombe placing first. Their next meet is this weekend at North Canton. The swim team has started off strong, with tons of athletes beating their times. They have also won some meets, as well as hosted the Friendly House Invite. This Friday is our PBIS event, with the dodgeball tournament going down, which my team will win. The high school has been staying busy with working together to provide families in the community with presents for Christmas that otherwise wouldn't have them without the teamwork being involved. Madison held a food drive that the Madison community and students brought together tons of food to give to families. And currently we do have our Penny Wars competition going on, where grades compete to bring in the most money or pennies that is raised for Madison and events and expenses. The winning grade will win a prize that hasn't been announced yet. Most excitingly, Christmas break is approaching, with a much needed break for students as well as the teachers. And then to add to that, I'll see you guys next year. Good luck.
Facilities,
Facilities has something.
thank you. Board policy,
We did have a meeting, and there is some first readings, but there's nothing that like affects your operations. It's all legislative changes.
and student achievement. So at the Career Center, recent certification exams, there is a 75% passage rate, with 1 out of 1 passing the phlebotomy technician, 4 out of 4 passing the STNA, 3 out of 3 passing cosmetology, and 1 out of 3 passing advanced cosmetology. Recent student completers, there's a 76% completion rate. STNA had 11 out of 13. Construction and welding fundamentals, which is an adult diploma program option, 1 out of 2 completed the program requirements. Excuse me. Advanced cosmetology, 4 out of 6 students completed the program. And recent adult diploma graduates, 80% completion rate, with 4 out of 5 graduates. The Madison Adult Career Center had the privilege of nominating a recent graduate for the prestigious National Coalition of Adult Basic Education's Outstanding Adult Learner Award, to be announced in January 2025. Our student had previously won her Ohio Division Student Award, which enabled this nomination. At the high school in mid-November, Student Council wrote Veterans Day letters to Madison alumni who are currently serving in the military. The Madison Band wanted to congratulate Emily Bogner and Chris Manley for their participation in the Ohio Music Education Association District 10 Honor Band on Saturday, December 7th. This event selects top musicians to represent schools in Ashland, Coshocton, Delaware, Holmes, Knox, Licking, Morrow, and Richland counties through a competitive audition process. Chris and Emily had the opportunity to participate in rehearsals with Dr. John Waters, the director of the athletic bands at Bowling Green University and former director of the Ohio State University Marching Band. After just a few hours of rehearsal, students performed in a concert to finish out the event. We're so proud of Emily and Chris for representing the Madison Band. Go Rams! Mary Madison is coming to an end, and the gifts will be ready to give before break. Many groups and organizations have pitched in to make a wonderful Christmas for 12 families. We're thankful for our community and our district for continuing this wonderful tradition. We appreciate the help from everyone involved. At the middle school, they raised a total of $3,500 and were able to serve 7 families with a total of 15 students for Mary Madison. They have completed their winter iReady diagnostics and were able to see quite a bit of growth across all student subgroups. They're also proud that many of their students that are in MTSS made several grade levels worth of growth. Our band and choir Christmas concerts went extremely well and they all sounded amazing. There was a lot of great support from our families and community coming to watch our students perform. The Care Closet is set up and fully operational for any student or family at the Madison Middle School who needs help with clothing, school supplies, personal hygiene products, or winter clothing supplies. At Eastview, the first and third graders just presented wonderful music programs under the direction of music teacher Jerusha Walker. Also at Eastview, third graders showed improvement this year in round 1 of state testing. At Mifflin, kindergarten students visited the Buckeye Imagination Museum before Thanksgiving break and enjoyed learning through the power of cooperative play. All students have started their mid-year diagnostic assessments with initial results showing growth levels at 67% for reading and 59% at math, where the expectation is to be at 50%. Tomorrow, Mifflin will host 2 music programs performed by first and third grade students. And at Madison South, they were able to service 39 South families with Christmas gifts this year. They're extremely thankful for the staff, area churches, and Mary Madison for the help with this. Each year, they've been able to add a few more families and hope to continue that for years to come. Superintendent's update?
Just a couple things. One, winter break is right around the corner. We have school yet tomorrow and Friday. And then a little bit different than what we've done in the past. Typically, the second grading period would end on Friday. Because we started a week later this year, there will be 1 week after we come back from break in the second quarter. And then we'll start the second semester. I'd just like to publicly thank everybody, staff and administration, community. A lot of people have put in and invested a lot of time and effort in Mary Madison Christmas, which will help benefit some underprivileged families and some students. So I'd just like to publicly thank everybody for their support of that great Madison tradition. And then lastly, I continue to do some research on old board meeting minutes, and I have a handful that these took place in the early 90s. Some of us in this room probably were here at that time and remember some of these things. From the May of '92 meeting, that is when the procedure for open enrollment started at Madison. It became, in 1989, the state brought open enrollment into play, and in 1992, the district started to take place, to have that process take place. In August of 1993, the board banned corporal punishment effective with the 93-94 school year. Maybe if that would have been banned a few years earlier, maybe I wouldn't have gotten paddled. And then the last one, in May of '93, the board approved entering into an agreement with North Central Ohio Computer Cooperative, NCOCC, for access to electronic mail. So email started in the district back in '93. So just some interesting facts about the early '90s. That's all.
At this time, we have a presentation from Mr. Nelson and Mr. Pickle.
All right, I'm sorry. I make a better door than I do a window. There's going to be 5 of us up here, so if you want, that's fine. All right, so our first thing for us this year, one of our building goals was to improve our PI scores, which is the performance index on the state tests across all tested subjects, as well as increase student attendance. So those have been our 2 kind of focuses this school year so far.
With the attendance update, from the 2022-2023 school year, our attendance in the first semester has increased. So the 2022-2023, we were at 69.9% at this point of the semester. Last year we were 64.6, and this year was 72.2. So we have saw like the steady increase there from the last 2 years. And a couple of things that we started, we have a homeroom pizza party. So for each grade level that has the highest attendance, that homeroom that has the highest attendance as well gets the pizza party. We have an attendance trophy that we pass around. We show it off there at lunch. We have a little graphic up there that shows what grade level wins for that month. The kids are really buying into it, especially our 5th and 6th graders. And we always have announcements there too, class shout outs, winning homeroom, winning grade level each month.
Okay, so just a little bit about our report card. Our achievement and progress stayed the same for this past year, which is 3 stars, which meets the expectations for the state. Our gap closing did go down. When we went to a training just recently, we found out that gap closing is an average of 3 years worth of data, so not just one. But one of our major things that we lost points for last year was chronic absenteeism. We got a 0 out of 5. In order to get the full 5 points, or any points at all, you have to have an 18.3% chronic absence rate. And our building was at 22.5. So hopefully we'll get much closer this year, if not get that goal. The other 2 that we got 0 out of 5 on, and you either get the full points or not, is the Gifted Performance Index and then the Gifted Identification and Services. So I've had several meetings with Mr. Stump about how we kind of fix those things. One of the things, especially for the Gifted Performance Index, our 7th grade advanced math students will be taking the 8th grade math test this year. So they'll have the opportunity to get advanced plus points, which hopefully will help us kind of graduate that one as well. So those are our 3 big ones that we took 0 out of 5 on. We do have some growth goals for English language arts. We only got 1 point out of 7, and math we only got 0 points out of 6. So that's kind of a focus for us, and then we'll talk about what we changed for this year. One of the big things that we changed across the building, except for 5th grade, they were a little bit different, was we now have a double block of math, so our math classes are 80 minutes instead of 40. Teachers have modeled new classroom routines, and we've kind of seen an improvement in content covered. They're moving a little bit quicker, being able to do a little bit more review. Some teachers have built in a lot more hands-on math activities that they did not necessarily have time for before when they were doing 40 minutes.
And Mrs. Neron was able to write and receive a grant for a literacy coach that we have that meets with our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teachers in ELA. She also is focusing on with MTSS for 2 grade levels as well. Our MTSS had a big revamp this year. 2 teachers per grade level. They're meeting with a list of students that we've now met and come up with criteria for each grade level and each different subject area there for math and ELA. They're meeting 4 days a week during Rams time for small group and one-on-one interventions. And with that, as we mentioned there, we've seen quite a huge improvement there that we're very proud of. Some students are jumping 2 to 3 years worth of growth, and we're only at December. So we're very, very happy with that. We're also looking at implementing a similar system for our gifted population next year, and kind of give those students what they deserve too, some love there. So with our most recent iReady diagnostic, I'm going to pull these numbers up. It's a little hard to see there. We did have improvement across the board there as well. So for our students that were 3 or more grade levels behind, we started at the beginning of the year with 181 students. We're now down to 143. 2 grade levels below, we were at 103. We're now down to 79. 1 grade level below, we were at 243, and now we're at 225. And then early on grade level is the first green you see there in the graph. We were at 39, now we're up to 100 students. And from mid or above grade level, we started at 21 students and we're now up to 40. So that was a very nice, not surprise, but good to see something coming out positive from our effort there.
All right, our fall sports went really well this year. We had full teams, 7th grade volleyball, 8th grade volleyball, 7th grade football, 8th grade football. They all won games and were very competitive. Our cross country team, we had a full team, very competitive and a lot of meets. A highlight from our fall season is our 8th grade football team took a field trip. We went down and visited Ohio Wesleyan University. And we learned about the campus a little bit, the history, learned a little bit about Branch Rickey, and then watched the football game. So that was a fun trip for our 8th grade football team. Winter sports are off to a great start. 7th and 8th grade girls and boys basketball are all practicing hard, doing well, winning games. But I'm really, really proud about our wrestling program right now. Our wrestling program is really full. We competed in our first meet, which we hosted, and 17 teams. We filled everything, all but 2 weight classes, and we won the meet. We had 3 champions and a lot of placers, so I was really proud of our wrestling team. For those of you who don't know, girls wrestling is a thing now. Okay, girls wrestling is the fastest growing sport in Ohio and according to some people nationwide. And we only have 2 girls out for middle school wrestling, but they've already competed in 2 tournaments. One of our young ladies is undefeated and been the champion of both of those tournaments. And we are hosting a girls tournament here over break for both middle school and high school. They don't compete against each other, of course, they have separate age divisions. But I'm really excited that we're hosting a girls wrestling tournament right here in this building.
And we just finished up with our Christmas concert from our choir and our band. Like we previously said there in the update, they sounded amazing. You can tell they're putting a lot of effort in, and shout out to our band and choir teachers.
All right, Mrs. Studer, you're up. Do you want this first?
Yes, I'm on volume.
Builders Club is a student-led club that organizes community service projects here at the middle school.
Hi, I'm Michelle and I'm part of the Builder. In September and October, we held donut days with grown-ups who came and enjoyed donuts with students. We raised over $800. I helped serve the donuts.
He also works on volleyball game and a football game, and did a cheer section to cheer on our team.
Hi, my name is Parker Larson, and I am a class representative in Builders Club. In November, we sold thankful grams, which was a piece of candy and a note to someone who you're thankful for, like a fellow student or a teacher. And then after that, we donate all the profits to Mary Madison.
Hi, my name is Miles Smith. I'm a part of Builders Club. In December, we collected wrapping paper supplies for our Mary Madison program.
So yeah, I'm the advisor for the Builders Club at the middle school, and the Builders Club is the community service club, and the students, anybody can join, so they don't have to be voted in, they don't have to be recommended to be in, so any kid can join, which is really wonderful. They don't have to, you know, be the most popular kid or a kid who's not in, out of trouble. They could be anybody, so they can come, and it's amazing how much they want to help and how much they do help. They're in charge of collecting money. They're in charge of talking to the other students on asking if they want to buy something, do they want to donate. They're really helping out this year with the recycling in the school, everybody signing up to do different parts of the program. So Builders Club's been really wonderful. We're doing 3 committees this year. The playground and recycling committee is one committee, and we're working with Blue Scope to try to figure out how to make more money from the recycling and how to work with the community more with our recycling trailer. So they're going to come out to our next meeting, and we're going to be making some community service or community announcements with that. And so we would really like to thank Directions Credit Union. They gave us a Directions Care grant. They gave us an iPad and podcasting equipment so we can make some commercials and stuff to get it out to the community. We also have an animals committee for the kids who love furry friends and want to help the shelters. And then we also have the Madison Families Community, where we are trying to support Mary Madison and, babies and, just Madison families in general. So we really want to thank Mr. Peterson. He's been helping mentor us this year. He gets to come to our meetings and see the middle schoolers in their glory at 7:40 in the morning. And then I also want to thank the middle school teachers especially for helping support all of the programs and projects that the kids do, because you guys get the kids excited and we really appreciate it. So, go to school. Thank you.
So I only asked Mrs. Studer and not Mrs. Thomas, who does our student council, because normally at this time of night I see her at Hobby Lobby shopping for Christmas stuff at this time of year. But she is here tonight, so I'm not going to put her on the spot because that will embarrass her. But I do want to kind of go a few things that she does in our building too. One of the things, if you've been in our building at all in the last month, all of the Christmas trees that are set up, all the Christmas decorations that are set up for our band concert, she stayed after school with a lot of kids to do that, and then she came back in with her husband and redid it all so that it looked really good. So she spent a ton of time doing that, a really, really long amount of time. So that, if you go down our hallways, music hallways, or above our stuff, they have purchased a lot of stuff to make our middle school more lively instead of just plain walls and nothing in there. So she, again, has done a bunch of that stuff. Anytime I need help with flower delivery, all of her kids come and help with that. So she does a ton of things. They did get me pretty good yesterday when I walked in my office. Mrs. Green and Mrs. Thomas spent a lot of time wrapping my office in wrapping paper, and every piece, individual pens, staplers, all the things were wrapped. So they really enjoyed that. All right. Up next is we started last year, but this year we're kind of fully engaged with our PTO. So I'm going to let our PTO president and vice president, Mrs. Wiggins and Mrs. Wakely, speak real quickly.
All right. Hello, I'm Sarah Wiggins, and I'm here to represent the newly formed Madison Middle School PTO. I am the president, and Rebecca Wakely is our vice president. Macon Studer is our treasurer, and Kat Schroeder is our secretary. Jordan Nelson and Bruce Gibson are the administrative representatives. Mary Fry, Kaya Wyrick, and Jennifer McVicker are our teacher representatives. We are newly established. We started in December of 2023 and spent the rest of that school year creating our bylaws and completing the necessary steps and paperwork to become a nonprofit business under the Section 501c3. After paperwork was finalized as a nonprofit, we were then able to open a bank account for our PTO. The purpose or mission statement of our PTO is to enhance and support the educational experience at the Madison Middle School, develop closer connection between home and school by encouraging parent and guardian involvement, and to improve the environment of our school through volunteering and financial support. Following that mission statement, our goal was to raise funds so we could help support the middle school financially. The other common goal all 4 board members agreed upon was to focus on raising funds to help support field trips at the middle school. So in order to raise money, we came up with a RAM calendar fundraiser, which was completed at the beginning of the school year. You simply pick any day on the calendar and donate that amount of money. We had a goal in mind and surpassed that goal. We were able to reward 3 students with Cavs tickets, a Cedar Point pass, and a $100 Visa gift card. Those students filled an entire calendar along with several other students, and they were chosen randomly from a drawing. We consider that a very successful first fundraiser. Another way we have raised money is to participate in pizza nights at Giannino's on the first Tuesday of every month, and they donated a portion of sales back to our PTO. We also sold candy and water at the middle school band concert recently to help raise funds as well. To fulfill another part of our mission statement, the PTO has provided parent volunteers for the middle school for various events. Some of those events include the winter and spring plant sale, the end of the year fun day last school year, and the Scholastic Book Fair. The PTO has also collected snacks for snack donations for state testing days last school year, and we plan to do the same this year. We provided a special honor roll treat for the students earning honor roll during the first 9 weeks, and we plan to do the same for the second and third 9 weeks. This year for Teacher Appreciation Day, we are planning to provide a catered lunch for all teachers and staff at the middle school. And this year, each grade level has planned and will be taking a field trip. We will help fund a part of those field trips, which is a huge success for our first year as Madison Middle School PTO. And then toward the end of the school year, we are considering doing a possible fun run in the spring, and then hopefully inflatables at the end of the school year. Our Madison Middle School PTO is excited to live out our mission statement and support and contribute to school and students and teachers at Madison Middle School.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so these are the field trips that our grade levels are going on this year. So our 5th grade has already gone on there. So they went to the Great Mohican Powwow. 6th grade is in May attending the Cleveland Guardians STEM Day. So they'll have STEM activities first, and then they'll stay for a portion of the Guardians game. 7th grade in May is attending the Hale Farm and Village. It's got a couple different things, but they're primarily focused on the economic portion, correct, Ms. Tinsley? Yeah, the economic portion. And then 8th grade in February is going to Witness to the Prosecution, which is a play, and that will be in Barberton. This is just one of the way our cross-categorical room is kind of learning some life skills. They're working on, they have a cross-cat room coffee cart that they open once a month, and they send out a thing, and our teachers can come down during first period, and they put together the drinks for you. They make it, they make your change. They have to do the whole hand washing. They are obviously supervised by our teachers and aides during that time, but these are kind of great life skills that we appreciate for them. And honestly, their drinks are very, very good, so if you ever want to stop in.
Community involvement that we have going on in the middle school. There's always a Saturday of the month that we have coffee with the principals. Come by if you want to get a cup of coffee. We have hosted now Donuts with Dudes and Donuts with Divas. And then a Ram Pride breakfast that we have started this year with Mrs. Studer and Mrs. Barr. And that is, we have Ram Pride, positive Ram Pride referrals where teachers can shout out students that are going above and beyond being Ram students. And then they're treated with a positive phone call home, a Ram Pride water bottle, and then a little pancake breakfast there. And the first one went really well. It was successful. We put a lot of time and effort into that. Some of our outside services that we have for students, we have family life counseling, and we have life coaches in our building. Casey, so community action for capable youth, Catalyst Life Services. Mr. Keppel kind of oversees Faith Educate, and this year we'll have Alex Hill as a guest speaker, a former Madison graduate.
Casey does a couple different things for our building. They do bullying prevention in both 5th and 6th grade. This year for 5th grade is the first time we have done that. 6th grade did it last year, so we've added that to 5th grade this year, which is 2 separate curriculums. We do not do anything with 7th or 8th grade. 7th grade does relationships under construction that has a little bit of bullying prevention in it. And then they also do some of our behavioral things that we try to implement. If there's a suspension or something goes on, we try to pair them with Casey to see if we can kind of curb some of that behavior so that we're kind of fixing that so they don't have a suspension again. And then to finish up, Mary Madison, she kind of already covered this a little bit, but we were able to do 15 students from Madison Local School, 7 families from the middle school. Our teachers do a great job of participating. This year we did a stall day for the first time, and I think everybody wanted to like chop my head off for suggesting doing something like that. But we did it on one of our PBIS days, so it was kind of a disrupted day. Teachers were not allowed to start class until all the money was counted on their desk. We changed that a little bit. We gave a goal for each grade level, and if they made the goal, then they had that morning off until they went to their PBIS incentive. So that raised $1,500, and then the jeans days and pajama days that staff and students participate in also go toward Mary Madison. And then our teachers do all of the shopping for Mary Madison, so we give them their kids and their suggestions of what they want. And then this year we did Amazon, so like Mrs. Fry did some, Mrs. Green did some. They take the different kids and they go in and spend a lot of time. Mrs. Fry was at like 10.5 hours of searching for the perfect things for her kids. And she is very proud of that. So she actually told me I wasn't allowed to touch anything when it came in. So just kind of shows what our staff does every day and the kind of stuff that they do for our kids. Thank you.
Okay, I need a motion for item I for donations. And a second.
Second.
Discussion?
I'd just like to thank all those parents who had positive balances, who donated those funds back to cover the negative balances that some of our students have, and also acknowledge all of the time and effort that Mr. Blankenship has put in contacting people and making sure that we follow all the rules and regulations that go along with that. But it's certainly a way to help out some of our struggling families again.
Roll call.
Mr. Mosher. 4. Mr. Wigton.
4.
Miss Amy Walker. Okay. Mrs. Cotterman. Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4. And I need a motion for treasurer's business.
So moved.
And a second. Second. Discussion?
All right. So revenues for the month of November, about $150,000 below what they were last November, which means it left us at the end of the month with about 2 weeks cash on hand, which is not much. The decrease in revenues is primarily due to 2 reasons. One, the tangible personal property tax reimbursement phase out. The state started that in 2018, and this is the last year for it. It just kept going down and down. So, I mean, I knew that we knew it was all coming. It has been coming. So that was the decrease in the local and other generated revenue. And as I said last month, our enrollment was down, so that's why the state and local foundation was down this year. So that's why revenues are down this in November over last November. Expenditures, they're actually pretty consistent. They've been stable within about 1% for the last 3 years. I did change the report a little bit. I told you that I try to keep these things like timely and transparent communications with you. So I changed the one data chart in this month. The one on the bottom right has to do with enrollment. Over the last basically 5 years, we've gone down 350 kids. So it illustrates declining enrollment, and we have to closely align staffing with enrollment and the evolving student needs for efficient, financial, responsible operations. So that's that one. The other reports, those are pretty much the same thing. We're going to be a deficit spending next year, and we'll be out of money in FY28 at this rate. And the last one, we're pretty much on track for what was forecasted for about the end of November, was around 42% all the way through the fiscal year, and revenues are 42% and expenditures about 43%. So that's that. And then I think you can get it off there. The next thing is the modification for appropriations. That's just a few minor budget revisions, and we have budget revisions I'd have to send to the county, and that's all that is. It's just your approval to send budget revisions to the county. Any questions on any of the treasurer's business? Mr. Wigton? 4. Mrs. Cotterman? 4. Mr. Mosher? 4. Miss Amy Walker? 4. Mrs. Melissa Walker?
4. And now we have a presentation from the Strategic Plan Student Learning and Support.
I don't think that's the right one. We're the, are we doing that?
I think something must have changed. We can do it next time.
We'll go next time? We'll go next time. All right. All right. So I thought we were going.
You're more than welcome.
You guys are now. I thought we were going tonight, but yeah, we'll go. Yeah. Yeah. We'll go next time. Yeah, we'll go next time. Yeah.
Well, since we're up this time, taking a look at student learning and support, there's actually 2 goals that we have. One is more data-driven. The second one is with programs and some of the things we're doing that Renee will speak to a little bit more. Hopefully you have this in your packet. The first page that I'm looking at is the goal of improving our performance index value-added scores. We didn't project it because we weren't going tonight. but
Oh.
now that we're ready, so, yeah, so a little confusing. Anyway, one of the things we want to take a look at, last year we had an opportunity to dig a little further into the data that we're getting back through the testing, high state testing, and also diagnostics that we run within the district. Now that we've had a chance to look through that information, we had some training earlier in the fall the administrative team was able to go to, and took a deeper look at where the data comes from and what we need to do with it in order to report it accurately. And one of the things we found is that in the past, we had waited until the summer to really dive into some of the particular coding of students for attendance, for gifted, several of those criteria. So this year we decided that we would take a step back and have quarterly meetings where Allison Kahn, who is our EMIS coordinator, and myself meet with the building principals. And quarterly we just take a look at where we're at that point in time. We have all the data marked correctly. Are the scores being inputted correctly at the school level? And then how are we looking at those scores? So the goal is we don't have to do all that in the summer. We can take a look at it and make those course corrections as we go. So that's what we're doing with the student data. It's giving us opportunity, as I said, we'll take a little further into it, and hopefully we can see improvement. I will point out, and I apologize you don't have this in front of you, but we did see an increase in scores from last year to this based on some of those corrections that we made over the summer. So, right.
Our second goal revolves around our multi-tiered systems of support, and basically implementing innovative programs to support intervention and enrichment to support individual student needs. We are really working on the documentation process and aligning that through the buildings, and also providing enrichment and intervention supports. Mr. Nelson touched on it with the middle school. We're doing that across all buildings. And the biggest thing we're working on too as part of our action plan is aligning all of our data and putting it all in one place. We have access to data map, which is part of our student information system. And so we're keeping track of all those interventions for all of our students, putting the reading improvement monitoring plans in there. And so we have documentation going back for every student, and we can see how much they're growing. Thank you.
Okay, I need a motion for item L, matters related to personnel. So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Lee Walker.
4.
Mr. Wickton.
4.
Mr. Mosher. 4. Mrs. Conover. 4. Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4. I need a motion for item M, superintendent's business.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
No discussion.
I do just want to make a note. I know as a community member, it can be alarming to see so many policy changes taking place at one time, but as Mary mentioned, it is typical around this time or once or twice a year to see that, and it's just to align with legal changes. So I know as a community member that was alarming to me, so I just wanted to make a note of that.
Okay, Mrs. Conover.
4.
Mr. Wickton.
4.
Miss Amy Walker.
4.
Mr. Mosher. 4. Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4. Do we have any visitors that would like to address the board? Okay. President's business, the next regular Board of Education meeting, are we determining that tonight? Or are we doing that at the organizational meeting?
Typically that happens at the organization.
Okay, so that will be determined at the organizational meeting on January 8th. There is an addendum to update the language for the President Pro Tem. We do not need a motion and a second, we just need to take nominations. So we'll take nominations for the President Pro Tem at this time. nominations? Okay, we'll vote. Roll call, please.
Okay, Mrs. Carter.
Four.
Mr. Mosher.
Four.
Miss Amy Walker.
Four.
Mr. Whitcomb.
Four.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
Four. At this time, I need a motion to, no, I'm sorry, yes, I need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
That's okay, go ahead. We will be preparing for conducting or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment. So we have a motion by Tim. Can I get a second? Second. Okay, discussion. When we return, we will not be taking action, so a roll call, please.
Mr. Whitcomb.
Four.
Miss Amy Walker.
Four.
Mr. Mosher. Mrs. Carter.
Four.
And Miss Walker.